Hello everyone, it's Kathy Champion. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm so glad you're taking the time today to spend a little time here with me in my craft room, and we're going to see if we can make something pretty. I saw this idea from another YouTuber, and I don't remember her name because I was watching late at night, and I saw this layout and I thought it was so pretty. This is done with the Dainty Diamonds. And then this is a piece of the Oso Ombre paper, and it's all done in the rich raspberry colors. And this is a piece of ribbon that I actually colored with my alcohol markers in the rich raspberry. But this card has a little pop-up inside that makes it a little different, and that idea actually came from Connie Stewart. So when you open the card, you have this cute little pop-up. It says happy birthday on the front, and then when it's opened it says happy to celebrate you. And you could always take and put another one of these little cutouts. This is the Stitch So Sweetly dies that I used, and I'm going to show you how to make this card today. But we're going to do it in one of the papers from the Celebration. Now Celebration ends today. And if you have not had the opportunity yet to pick out that favorite stamp set or favorite pack of paper, you only have a few hours left before all of these beautiful things are going to go away. It makes me sad, but it was a great opportunity to get some lovely stamps and some beautiful papers. So this one is the Flower and Field Designer Series paper, and I have used this one to death because I love it. I love those. I just love the flowers. I think they're so pretty. But I thought I would use this one today, so I'm bringing in a piece of Bumblebee and Cherry Cobbler because these are coordinating colors, and you can see that white will play well in that too. So with that being said, I think what I want to do is I want to do my matte out of the Bumblebee, my guard base out of the Cherry Cobbler. So let's go ahead and start cutting down our main pieces. And instead of pre-cutting everything, I just thought I would bring y'all along. So this is a 8.5 by 11. So I am going to cut this at 5.5 because that's half of 11. And then I'm going to turn this and score it at 4 1/4 because this is 8.5, and half of 8.5 would be 4 1/4. So we don't want to cut this, we want to use our score blade. And a little tidbit, if you always wonder which way you should fold your card, when you take it out, you'll have an indentation here on this side, and you'll have a raised up bump on the inside. Always fold it into the bump. This will give you a nice, even fold every time. If you do it the other way, you're going to run into problems with the cardstock just not being as even as it should. But that's a rule of thumb. Always fold into the bump. So there we go. And it also keeps your cardstock from, let me grab my little sanding block. I've got a little bit of fraying right there. I just picked these up at the nail salon. They work really good if you have any frayed edges on your cardstock. You can just easily go over top of it with one of those, and it sands everything down. An old emery board will do the same thing. Okay, before we go any further, let's go ahead and cut the mat for this. And I know the mat needs to be 4 by 5 1/4. Oops, wrong blade. 4 by 5 1/4. So we're just going to cut that. Now that gives us a mat. This one we're going to run through the embossing folder because we're going to add some other papers on here, but we want to emboss that first. So I have gotten out my Absolutely Argyle, and I thought this was so pretty, and I think I want to do it. You could do it either way. You could do it where it's like this, or you could do it with it falling like this. And I think since I am going to be using my card landscape like this, I think I'm going to do it. And you got a guideline on your embossing folders to help you get your pieces nice and straight. So use that to your advantage. If you notice there's a line on the outside of some of your larger embossing folders, So line your paper up. Let's do it like this. Line your paper right up on that line, and then close your embossing folder onto it. And we are going to, I'm going to take off my plates, because with this one, you always want to run your embossing folders, if at all possible, with the folded side to the top. So I'm going to lay that in, and I'm using my number 4 plate over it, because this is a 3D embossing folder. And I'm going to crank it through. And let's take that off. And we'll put these back together, so if we need to cut anything, we will be ready for that. And look at this piece, how beautiful that come out. The 3D embossing folders are, I mean, absolutely breathtaking. I love, love, love that. So we are going to put that piece down, but y'all know I don't put anything down until I am ready to assemble my card. I like to lay everything out first. That way you can get a feel on whether this is exactly what you want. So we know that this piece was 5 1/4. So the next piece needs to be 5, and I only need about 1 3/4 inch. So let's do the 1 3/4. And we're going to do it this way, because of my card. If you're working with paper that is directional like this is, you need to look. And I know that I want it to fall on my card like that. So I'm going to cut my 1 3/4 inch piece off this way. And then I'm going to cut the length I need, which I know is 5. So then I'm going to line it up at 5. And slice it again, and now I have my piece that's going to go right about there. And I want a little bit of that bumblebee to peek out on the sides and at the bottom. Isn't that beautiful? So pretty. So now we need to decide what color we want to go across to kind of separate the two. So do I want bumblebee, or do I think I want the cherry cobbler. So I'm going to cut a strip off of this that is a 1/2 inch, and I know that it needs to be probably about 5 1/2, because I want it to go all the way across. So that is right at 5 1/2. So this is good. It's perfect. So that's going to go across just like that, and see how that gives you that little separation. But now if you wanted to do a ribbon, and I did pull out this pretty black because I thought this would be really pretty. It's got sparkles on it, so this is going to shed a little bit. So when you're working with this ribbon, I would suggest to put down maybe a little piece of, and I had it right here, oh here it is, a little piece of scrap paper, because when you're working with this ribbon, it is going to shed onto your work surface. So I'm going to cut a piece of this about, and I got it on the metric side, and no, this is inches. So we're going to cut a piece that's about 7 inches, in between 6 and 7. And I'm going to grab my ribbon scissors, and I'm just going to cut it right there. And I'm going to take that, and I use these little clips, and they work really well for holding my ribbon, and it gives me a handle to pull it out with. So that works out real good for me, and that was just a happy accident that I came up with that. But let's lay this. I'm thinking I want that to go right below that cherry cobbler strip. I like that. Okay, so now what we need to do is start putting our card together, because I want to place this piece on here about like so. You want that little 1/4 inch not quarter inch, about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. I'm going to use some regular liquid glue for this because I don't want, since we are gluing it down to a textured surface, I want to make sure it's going to stick. So I feel like the liquid glue gives me the better opportunity for that glue to kind of go into all of those little nooks and crannies right there. And I like that. Now this piece is going to go, you know what, we're going to cut this piece down. I just want it to go from one side to the other of this. We'll put it on and then we'll cut it off. How about that? So I am going to put my glue across here. And I just want this to go right to the edge of my bumblebee. And I want to get this as straight as I possibly can. That looks good. So press it down. Then we can come back and take our paper snips. Wait a few minutes and let that glue completely dry before I trim it. I don't want to get my scissors and glue. So while we're waiting on that, let's just go ahead and put our ribbon on. So to put my ribbon on, I'm going to use a piece of my seal. I thought I had it just a minute ago, and I do. And I'm going to look, I want it to go down on the black, so I'm going to come down right below, just right below that strip on both sides. And now what we're going to do is we're going to lay this into that glue. I'll tell you what, let's lay it down where we want it first. I want it to go just about like that. We're going to have to snip that first, so let's go back and go ahead and snip that off, just like that. And now we can lay this down. And we need to get that stuck in back here. I want it to go down a little bit, right about there. And you see what I'm doing, I'm kind of doing half and half. And that's exactly where I wanted this to fall. Just like that. And it looks like I didn't put that seal in the right place, so I'm going to come back now and put another piece and just tack that into it. Just like that. And then we'll come back and put a glue dot here in the middle to secure this so it doesn't look like it's flapping. But we need to go ahead and put all of this on our card. So again, I'm going to use liquid glue. And just make sure you get glue over top of that ribbon as well. Nice hearty amount of glue. And now we're going to put this down onto our card base, just like that, and press. Now we're going to take a glue dot and my trusty little take your pick tool, which always is like a third hand for me. And there's our glue dot, and we're going to take it and put it right underneath that ribbon. That will anchor that ribbon so it doesn't look like it's, you know, in motion. Sorry about that noise. That was actually my phone again. It's always making noise. Alright, so if we want to make this, I want to make this a thank you card rather than a happy birthday. This card just looks so pretty and it looks very festive. But because we've got all these beautiful flowers, I want some butterflies going across this one. And just, oh, here they are. I knew I had them out. This is the Beauty Abounds and the Beautiful Butterfly. This is a beautiful set, and I think it has been way overlooked in our catalog. But I've used this quite a bit. I love this stamp set. You got beautiful butterflies that you can actually stamp, but you've got these little ones here that you can actually die cut. These little bitty ones right here are so stinking cute. And look, you can do 5 at one time because you've got 2 there, 1 there, and 2 right here. And I'm going to cut those out and show you just how stinking cute they are. And what we're going to need to do with that, and I'm thinking I might play into the black. I'm thinking, or do I not want to do that? Nah, let's do it in the Cherry Cobbler. I think that'd be cute. Let me see if I've got any scraps before I cut into that piece. I know I got red scraps, but let's see if I have, oh, I do. So if you got scraps, that's the perfect thing to do because this piece is big enough for a card base. So I try not to cut down my pieces if I've got some little scraps like this. So I'm just going to lay these on like this. I am going to, because they're tiny, just lay a piece of my Post-it note over them, and I'm going to run them through my die machine. And I'm probably going to do this twice. We'll see how many, we'll see if we need more. If we don't need any more, we'll just go with these. But I want to show you just how cute these are. Let me cover this glue back up, because y'all know I'll have a clumpy mess if I don't. So I'm gonna look at that. 5 beautiful little butterflies. Are they not precious? Look how tiny they are. They are so cute. So I'm gonna just rake these off and lay them right there. And I'm gonna slide my dies down. I think I'm gonna go ahead and cut. Look at that. You know, it doesn't get any easier than that. Now we can just run them back through again, just like this. And let's get our plates back in the die machine. And now we're ready to go ahead and get our little butterflies put up here. And what I like to do is turn them over so they're on the right side. And you know, all die cuts have a right side and a wrong side, and you can feel them, and the raised side is the right side. So make sure that your right side is raised up. Yep, that's the right side. What I like to do is make sure that they're all up, so when I get ready to put them on the card, I don't have to sit and fiddle with them. I can just pick them up. Oop. These things are tiny, y'all. They are going to be a little delicate to work with, but I think they're going to make a beautiful display, even though they're tiny. I do want to punch a sentiment out or a die cut to put our message on, and I think for that I'm going to use the back side of this because it matches. It's got the little polka dot, so it's going to give a little element of surprise. And I think, let's see if it'll fit in this punch. And better yet, let's see if my thank you's going to fit. That's going to fit. So I'm using the stamp set called Peaceful Moments. I love the font on this, and I used the Happy Birthday for the last one. So I think this is going to work. This is how I do it. I just hold my stamp over my punch, and that is going to work beautifully. So I'm going to go ahead and punch out. And this is the story label. I've been using this a lot lately. The paper pumpkin pieces were cut identical to this month for February, and I thought they were so pretty. and it just really lent itself to me wanting to do this. So we're going to stamp that in a minute, but let's go ahead and get our butterflies on. So what I'm going to do is use a little tiny bit of glue. I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool to pick up my butterflies, and before we start, let's pick them up and put them on here and decide about where we want them. And they don't have to be perfect, they just need to be on here. So we're going to just make like a whole little fluttering bunch of butterflies. Isn't that cute? I love these. I think they're so cute, and probably have gone overlooked in the catalog because I just discovered them this morning. And I thought, oh, I got to use these. I have got to show y'all these cute little tiny butterflies. So many times when we're doing a card, how many times has your butterfly been bigger than your bird? You know what I'm talking about. There are so many times that we need that little something, just a little tiny bit of something. I'm going to pull him down here, this one here, and maybe this one over here, and that one right there. Oops, he decided he was going to jump off the card. He didn't want to play. Now I think those look really cute, and when we put our sentiment over here, I think it will really tie everything in. Okay, before we glue those down, let's go ahead and stamp our sentiment. So I'm going to grab my Memento ink and a stamp block. Just like that. And I'm going to ink this up. I like to stamp first just to make sure that I'm getting a good solid image. And that looks really pretty. So now we're going to commit it to our little punch that we punched out. Love it. So pretty. Alrighty, I'm going to use my chamois just to wipe that off really quick. And this needs to be popped up, so let's get some dimensionals. And I'm going to put one here, and one there. I think that will be sufficient. Grab my Take Your Pick tool and wrangle these off just like that. And now I want this to sit about halfway in between this and this. I love that. I think it needs one more dimensional underneath the edge. So let me grab one more, and I'm going to go ahead and peel off the backer because I'm going to put this right about there. And then just sit that down on it. There we go. That's much. Oop! Look what I did with my butterflies. All right, we're going to go ahead and put those butterflies on before I make another mess. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put just some little spots of glue. Stay with me, folks. Oh my goodness. So I'm just going to put some, over here and there, like that. And then I'm going to pick my butterflies up and just sit them into that glue. Oop, I got the putty off of it. That happens sometimes. But it's really simple because that putty doesn't stick to anything. It goes away. Oops. Just making sure that you get those set down really good in that glue so they adhere. that. And then a little bit right here. And we need one more right here. And then these last two, I'm just going to decide where I want those to go. Oops, maybe we need a little bit more glue right there. The glue does dry fast, so sometimes you have to move a little faster than you would like. So there. And then I think I want one up maybe right about here. And maybe this one right here. Yep. So I'm going to pick that one up, put some glue, sit it down, and press it. Pick that one up. Do the same thing. I just love these butterflies. I think they really do add to the card. And so now all we have to do is our inside with our pop-up. And oh, you're gonna love this. It is ingenious. So what we need to do is we need to cut down our piece of cardstock. All right. So I'm going to cut this piece to 5 1/8. So that's 5 1/8, and then we know this is 8 1/2, so we're going to take off a 1/2 inch. Should have measured my piece of cardstock first. There we go. That's okay. I got more scraps now. Now we're going to fold. We're going to score this at 4 inches. Now we should have an exact fold, which we do. So now, in order to make this little card, you're going to have to use the side of your trimmer, and I'm going to put a piece of yellow under here. Do you see your numbers right here? And maybe I need to zoom y'all in. And I'm going to try to move some stuff so I can get this right over here. But you see your numbers right here on the side of the trimmer? I'm going to put my piece of cardstock in at 1 inch over, and I'm going to do this on both sides. I'm going to put it in at 1 inch. So now when I cut it, it'll be 1 inch in, but I only want to go down to 1. So I'm going to put my blade right on the 1 inch mark down, and you've got a little guide right here on the side of your blade. So just make sure you've lined it up to the 1. Pull that piece out so you can close your bar down. Sink that blade down in and just slice up. That's all you have to do. Then we're going to turn it over and do the same thing on the other side. Line it up to 1. Bring your blade down. I'm going to put the yellow cardstock under there again so I can see my numbers. Sometimes it's hard on dark cardstock to see it, so it helps if you use a piece of white paper or yellow, anything that's lighter than the writing. So that's lined up at 1. So I'm going to close my blade, close my track, sink my blade, and slice up. So now you have 2 cuts in your cardstock at 1 inch in and 1 inch down. So now we're going to lay this back in at 1 inch, but this time we're not going to cut, we're going to score. So we're going to come back up to that 1 inch. Put that in so I can see where my 1 inch is, right there. And we're going to score down to that cut mark. So all the way down to there. Oops. So when you finish, you should have a piece that looks like this. So you want to fold this over in both directions just to kind of get it, and then you're going to push that in like that. We can move this out of our way. This is what our mechanism should look like when it's folded down. So let's get our bone folder, and we're going to burnish this down really good You really need a real good burnish on this in order for these folds to work like they should. And you will get a little crease inside here because you are creasing this into the paper, but it's okay. That's not going to be seen once everything is said and done. And this is what your piece should look like. And what we're going to do in order to put it in our card, we're going to bring our card back and we are going to set this in, giving ourselves just a tiny bit of room up here. You don't want it to go completely into that bend, but you want it to be almost there. And you want to have that equal border on both sides. So what we're going to do, we're going to hold it in place, take some liquid glue. You could use your press and seal here. In fact, that probably wouldn't be a bad idea. So let's just do press and seal. And we're going to put 2 things of it there. And come across the bottom and here. The reason it's easy to use the press and seal here is because we're not going to have to put this in. We're going to lay it down like so. Once you get it right where you need it, evenly spaced, we are just going to fold that card down onto that adhesive and press. And now that is adhered in, we're going to turn it to the back, and we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're just going to put some adhesive and make sure we get a good amount right here and here. You don't want it to go over that edge, so make sure that if it does hang over anywhere, you fold it back on itself. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to fold this back right down onto the adhesive, just like that. Now we have a pop-up card. Let me zoom y'all back out. Sorry about that. Oops. So now we're going to do a decorative piece for the inside. So let's go ahead and use those same dies because I think they're gorgeous. They're stitched so sweetly. I laid them right here by the my die cut machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, and when you're making these on your own, you can make your piece as big or small as you want it. I want this one here to sit on, so I'm going to use this one. Maybe I'm going to use the cherry cobbler thread, so we can use one of these pieces that we messed up a while ago. So I'm going to cut that out with this, and I'm just going to cut this piece off. The reason I'm going to do that because I want to show you another secret. When you're pushing your pieces like this that are square through your die cut machine, if you do this, not this, but I'm going to show you when I put it on the plate. Alright, here's my plate. If you lay that at an angle and let it go through at an angle rather than straight in like that, it will go through much smoother and it won't pop and crack. So listen. No pop at all. And your piece will come out perfect every time. Another little tidbit for you to draw from, and we're going to do a piece of the yellow. Maybe we'll do the, if we got any more of this, yes we do. We got plenty of this because the back side of this is the polka dot. So it'd be nice for our message inside to match our message on the outside. So we're going to cut. Let's go ahead and cut a piece of this off. And we're going to use the next size, which would be this one. We're going to cut a piece off of here. So I'm I'm going to grab my trimmer. I don't like to cut into my large pieces of paper without using my my trimmer, because I like those nice clean edges. So let's lay this down, and we need a piece that is about 2 3/4. So I'm going to cut the strip off like that. And let's go ahead and put this on. And I should have cut it again. That's okay, we'll bring it back up. And we'll cut it right there. Let's do it at 4. It's close enough. So now I'm going to put this back into my machine. I'm doing that angle again. And there is that piece. And where did I put my dies? Oh, here's my dies. I just want to make sure I lay those over there so that I'll know where they're at when I am done. Nothing like losing a die. If you've ever lost one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, now we have this piece to put here. Oh, I cut the same size. Oh no. I meant to cut this one. Well, you know what? We can do that, and we'll just have a real pretty little frame here for another time. So I'm just going to make sure that I get that nice and even so I do have a frame. And I'm going to run that through one more time. Like I said, you know, we all make our little mistakes and boo-boos when we're crafting, and sometimes it's even more so when you are recording, because you're trying to think a whole step ahead of yourself and what comes next. I'm going to make sure that all of the supplies that I used, along with the instructions and everything, measurements and what have you, will be listed below in the description. So if you want to replicate this card, you most certainly may. And I think what I want to do is, oh, isn't that pretty? Oh, that's going to be so pretty in there. So I want to, I want to see if I have a stamp. This one would be pretty. Thank you for always being there for me, because we're saying thank you. So we're going to use that one. That's this one right here. And I'm going to center that up as best I can. And grab a stamp block. And I'm going to ink it up. And let's see. Oh yeah, that's much better. So now I'm getting this as straight as I can. Very pretty. Okay. And did have a little bit of a bleed over there, but that's okay. Clean that off. Oops. Probably need to get my Stampin' Scrub to clean that off, but it's all right. Close that ink pad back up. And now let's go ahead and adhere this to this, and I'm going to do that using some of the glue. just some liquid glue on the back. And get that settled in right there. So pretty. I love that paper. And now we are going to bring this to our card, and all you want to do is sit this on here just like that. So just remember that your adhesive is going to go to the back. So what you might want to do, if you're going to use some tear and tape or your seal, just lay that down like that and put your seal or your glue. I'm just going to use glue. So I'm just going to put some regular glue right there, and I'm going to pop this piece out like that. Then I'm going to take my message, making sure that it's right side up, and I'm just going to lay it right in between that piece, and then I'm going to lay my card down and give it a press, give it a chance for the glue to adhere, because we know that liquid glue takes a little bit longer. So I'm just going to give it a little love on the back, like that. And now we have our beautiful message inside. And like I said, you could cut an oval out of maybe a piece of this and put it right here. Like a scalloped oval would be beautiful right there. And that would give you a place to sign your card. But that's our, well, one other thing, I'm not done. I want to put some embellishments on it. And since I was playing up the black ribbon, let's see if we've got some black jewels, and I do. So I'm going to use the tiny, maybe the medium-sized one. And I'm just going to slide that off, and I want one right here. I want it to look like it's kind of a buckle holding that on. Isn't that pretty? Love how this card turned out. So pretty. Thank you for always being there for me. I love that. I think it turned out gorgeous. And here's the other one, which is a happy birthday card. Two different cards, same layout, but they look so different. You'll have to leave me a comment and tell me what was your favorite and why you like it. I love comments. I don't know that you watched my video if you don't leave me a comment. So please, 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 always like, share if you can. You can always share this on your Facebook page. If you have a Twitter account or a Instagram, you could share it on there. And that would link people to my channel. I'm almost to 1,000, y'all. I am so excited. So, but I need y'all's help. I can't do this without you. And so every time you like and share and leave a comment, it helps grow my channel. So think about doing that for me. I love you all so much. Don't forget about Celebration. It ends tonight. This beautiful paper here, Celebration. That polka dot is Celebration. This Oso Ombre is a free item. These things cannot be purchased. They are free with a $50 purchase. So go shopping. It's so much fun. Pick out some pretties, and you can't wait till that box comes to your door and you have an opportunity to sit down and craft with me. Thank you so much for tuning in. May God richly bless you and keep you. And as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is so worthy. Thanks again. God bless. Bye-bye.